I really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I might rent the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grab my hand, gave me a notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you. On my mind, I can't lie. On my mind, I can't lie. Pull you down till you dry. Pull you down till you dry. All the time, ease my mind. All the time, ease my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I was sipping more for 2 years straight to the face. Champagne belly bubble still won't go away. Last year my best man hit a stain with bad face. Now he's got a hell beyond the water's cold case. I wake up with pain sometime and never go away. Wonder why I balance.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I want to thank you all for joining us for episode 16 of This, That, and the Third with Shannon and Hook.
Yeah.
And unless you've been away on the planet Cybertron or under a rock, you probably heard that the people have spoken, and Donald J. Trump, it will be named the 47th president of these United States. Shannon, how you feeling, man?
I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. I feel like nothing's real. I feel like we're gonna wake up and it's gonna be Tuesday morning and we get to do it all over again, right?
Yeah, well, I doubt we all having the same dream. So I think you can.
No, it's not real. It's not reality. Yeah, I'm still stuck there. I done turned the TV off. I don't want to watch no news. I don't want to hear about none of it.
Hey, man, you acting like I did when the 49ers lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'm mourning. I'm black. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, it's all good though. Nah, but we're going to debrief, give our post-election opinions, just have an open conversation, man, about our thoughts, our opinions, and pretty much where do we go from here as a country. We have many of our same guests from the other night. Shanice, Kim, Curtis, Shannon, myself, obviously, Joe, and Co. We have a new guest tonight, Melissa, if you will. Welcome to the show, and if you would just tell us a little bit about it yourself.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with everyone. I'm not happy with the results, obviously. I'm a resident of Columbia, South Carolina, long-term political activist. And currently, for almost the last decade, I've worked in Democratic politics, working to elect women up and down the ballot across the nation.
Okay. All right. Good deal. And again, thanks. Sorry you couldn't join us the other night, but we're glad to have you on tonight. And for the audience, for the viewers, make sure you guys react, comment, share, and subscribe so that you can certainly share our content. So let's go ahead and let's dive into it, man. So Melissa, since you're new, I want to start with you, and I want to hear from everybody, obviously. So when the results were pretty much a foregone conclusion, or when you finally found out that Kamala had lost to Trump, so what were your initial thoughts? Like, what did you think initially?
Yeah, initially it was disbelief. I couldn't believe that we were here again. And I felt and feel gutted. I feel betrayed, honestly. And to see that so few people voted in this election compared to who voted in 2020, I am honestly confused. I don't understand what really went wrong, except that we had a black woman at the top of the ticket. I don't see why we had 15 million less votes for her than we had for Biden, except for the fact that there was a black woman at the top of the ticket. So I feel betrayed. I felt betrayed when I saw it. I felt gutted. I was honestly confused. I'm still confused. And I'm truly worried that we are handing the keys to Trump with a Democrat, a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and a conservative Supreme Court. It's going to be a hot mess for a while.
Okay. What about you, Curtis?
I'm gonna be honest. I sit at like 3:30 in the morning, watching these results as they came in, and I just knew for a fact that Pennsylvania said we were going. Democratic Party was going to take Pennsylvania. Then I went to sleep, woke up, and I just see it across every channel I turned. I was just like, man, this is unreal. This is unreal. This has got to be a joke. I'm probably still asleep. Let me wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, then seeing all of these statistics that they started coming in about the different people who supported him, it just was a hard pill to swallow. I don't have many words. I mean, you'll lie to you. It's a little disappointing. I ain't say a little. It's a lot disappointing. It's a lot of disappointment. Yeah, I'm lost for words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Kim, I think I took you off mute. So what were your?
Still on mute. She's still on mute.
She muted herself this time, though.
I muted myself. I did. I woke up like I did in 2016. Like I was just in disbelief. Like, what in the world are we doing? After seeing his how he led the country those 4 years, and then what he was gonna do after we kind of cleaned it up the next 4 years, I realized then that some allies can't be trusted. I realized that Black women are strong, that we stand by what we say we're gonna do. And sometimes we got to sit back and just watch. It's almost like my grandmother used to say, I'm gonna sit back and watch you mess up. So I'm trying to get it to a point in my head where I'm not gonna stress over this. Um, but it was very disheartening to see women, and it goes back to the women with the hats when when they protested against him. It's like you're the same ones that voted for him. So whatever happens, happens. To you and your demographics. Latinos, it just goes back to their proximity to be close to the white people. It bothered me a lot. And then the ignorance of some of our Black men bothered me. But to sit back and think that it was only 10% of us that voted as Black people that voted, but that 23% of Black men who voted against Kamala, that was a hit. That was a hit for us. So, and it wasn't a hit in numbers. It was just like, wow, like you hate Black women that much that you are willing to accept whatever he says, and he doesn't say much. That's smart, but you were willing to accept that. So I'm very quiet right now. I was in Target and would not speak to anyone because I'm like, you're the enemy, you're the enemy, you're the enemy. I don't have time for it. I'm not even gonna speak. I'm not gonna hold the door. I'm not gonna do anything. And it's sad that is going through me. But just imagine after January the 13th. How this is really going to feel, how it's going to sit with us when we've given him a ticket to disrespect anyone, his whole party, everything. And that's what we did. That's what we did. We didn't vote like we needed to. So I'm at the end of my year of retire. I'm close to my end of retirement. So I'm just like, well, if they want it that way, let it be that way. It feels like you want to give up. I'm just being honest.
Gotcha. And Joe, what about you, sir? Like, what were your initial thoughts?
Hey, good evening, everyone. As far as my initial thoughts, wasn't really too much of a surprise for me. It was kind of entertaining, a little suspenseful. I guess I wasn't really moved about it. I think once the Democrats made that decision to drop Joe Biden and then put Kamala Harris in the seat, especially this late in the game, like I said, it wasn't surprising to me that she didn't even have enough time to prepare to actually even run a successful campaign. I also didn't think it was right that they threw her in the nominee position without even actually doing a primary for the Democratic chair itself. So, when you basically rushed to failure. Long story short, that's how I saw it. So the results, as far as Trump getting the electoral college as well as the popular vote, honestly, is not surprising to me.
Yeah. All right, Shanice. You muted, but I didn't do it.
It was me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So I think I take a different view in the sense of why didn't people come out to vote, right? What was the reason? I think one of the things, just being in the political arena before, is when you see an election with people not voting, that means that they're not connecting, right? And in politics, you have to be able to connect with the people that you want to vote for, like that you want people to vote for you. And I think a lot of times we are kind of caught up on race and on gender. Those things are reality. Those things do impact a lot of things in our lives, especially when you're in the minority group. But I do feel like a lot of people just reading like the comments, because I haven't done a lot of statistics as far as like how many people voted versus the last election and stuff like that. They just didn't feel connected. And so to me, being in politics, it just sounds like the strategy, like Joe said, just didn't work. And it just doesn't, it's kind of agreeing with Joe in the sense of, when you rush things through, sometimes you can have missed marks. And I myself, as a Democrat, of course, I voted for Kamala. Not because she was a Black woman. I voted for her because I felt like she had the capability of being able to make change. And I don't know if that message was clearly defined and delivered to the people to make a conscious vote. And not saying that it couldn't be done in 3 months, but it's kind of hard to connect with someone that you're not sure what they did as vice president. And then now you're asked to vote on them to be your ruler. And so I feel like I don't feel like Donald Trump won. I just felt like the Democratic Party lost, if that makes any sense. So that's my view.
Gotcha. And what about you, Cole?
I'm not surprised. Like, I would have been surprised had Donald Trump lost. And one of the reasons is, like Joe said, I think it was kind of unfair to Kamala Harris because she wasn't prepared. Like, President Obama started campaigning years before the election. He knew the importance of grassroots politics. He had so many people in place, and he had a diverse group of surrogates. And you have to have people in place that can communicate with and reach out to a diverse group of people. And Kamala Harris just got on board after Joe Biden had that meltdown. So that really wasn't fair to her. She had what, 4 months to prepare. And now it's like people want to get some time to research her, find some things out about her. She has to target different audiences. Like, it takes a long time. You have to do a lot of studies. You have to research, like, what are the trends? What's going on in these areas? And when you think about these key states that she needed, I don't think she had enough time to really campaign to those areas. So it really wasn't fair to her. And when we talk about the everybody saying they're shocked about the 20% of black men that did not vote for her, that doesn't mean that they hate black women. Like, they have special interest. So you have people that have a vested interest in industries and areas that benefited from Donald Trump's presidency. So, and a lot of people spoke out about it. And if you all are familiar with like the Kissel Amendment and the Buy America Act and things like that, there are a lot of terrible things that he did, but those things were vital, and a lot of people benefited. You have a lot of black men that work in the steel industry. They work at aluminum plants. They work in the auto industry. And those things, when he put tariffs or banned the import of Chinese steel, our steel companies, our Nucor Steels, Ferroalloy Steel, the different aluminum plants, those guys saw a lot of production, a lot of money, and it changed the landscape of their families economically. So they're going to support him. That has nothing to do with them hating a black woman. It's like that's their interest in their families. That's what they have to look out for. Not just because she's black, I have to vote for her and go against their special interest or what will benefit them. You know, they can't just change careers. So I get it. I can understand why some of them would vote against her, but that's not fair to say that means that they hate black women because they didn't vote for her. That's a bit asinine, and part of the reason why some would not, because you're going to name call and criticize and bash them. How is that inviting? How is that going to make them then vote for another black woman?
Okay. And what about you, Shannon?
I told you when we first started, I'm just still kind of in shock. I hear what the people are saying on the panel, like she just didn't have enough time. So really, what you're saying is any candidate would have ended up in this position on the Democratic Party because they had to replace Joe Biden. But I think that's not 100% true. I think there is a lot of people out there that just did not vote for Kamala because she's a woman. And I think that's an honest conversation to have. And I think it's an honest conversation to say that there are men and black men who didn't vote for Kamala because she was a black woman.
If every black man voted for it, I still wouldn't have been enough votes to win.
I didn't say every, and I didn't say that would have moved her over the mark. I just said that there are men out there who I believe didn't vote for her because of she was a female. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying it would have moved the mark anyway or changed the thought of the election. That's just my opinion.
And for me, like, I guess I was cautiously optimistic. I wasn't confident that Kamala would win, even though I know I was gonna vote for her. But I was hopeful, saying that, hey, maybe there's a chance, right? I do feel that the Democratic Party did a disservice to Kamala, and I pretty much knew that we were in trouble when Biden had that moment during the debate. I was like, there's no way that anybody's going to feel he's competent enough, right? And then the first thing I'm thinking is, okay, who are we going to bring in to replace? And I'm weighing the pros and cons. And the only name that came to mind that I felt was that could, move the needle maybe was Kamala. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, she's not just, a woman and black woman. I'm like, I don't see the country rallying behind her like that. But she did pick up steam. She had a really good debate, even though, as you guys said, she wasn't necessarily prepared. She mopped the floor with Trump in that debate. Like you would think that she was the former president, not him. You know what I'm saying? Like she ran circles around him, in my opinion. Now, I do think though that like my initial thoughts when I knew that that she had lost, honestly, it was fear. not necessarily fear of what he himself is going to do. But what happens is that when you have a certain group of people and they rally behind someone, even though that person may not, I'm not even saying he's for anything. I know there have been rumblings about him being racist, whatever. I don't know that to be true for certain. What I do know is that the majority of his supporters are. And you saw what they did when he, quote unquote, incited the riot, when he was on his way out. Now imagine what they're going to do now that he's back on his way in, and he's going to be that way for the next 4 years. So my initial thoughts were, these people going to act a fool. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily just about, it's not about him, just about the people that rally behind. I'll get to in a second, Joe, and the people that rally behind him. And I on a lesser sense, right? Like I compare it to like the whole Caitlin Clark situation, right? Phenomenal basketball player. But a lot of people gravitated towards her because she was a very good white basketball player, and then they use that to basically spread their racism and show their true colors. And you know what I mean? Like it's because I followed that for a long time, but it's on a lesser scale. It's kind of akin to that, but fear was really the very first thing in my opinion. And the fact that and I question, I'm like, well, with Kamala, did she not garner the support because she came in late or because she was a black woman? Like and I go back and forth with that. And I know that we want to, and to Joe and Cole's point, I know we want to say black men, black men, black men, but I mean, 80% of us did vote for Kamala. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I would have loved that to have been 90, 95%, but I mean, 80% of us did. And the others, I've seen some of the ignorant comments, right? I know most of them probably voted for their own self-interest. They feel that under a Trump administration that they themselves are going to prosper more, right? And you can't knock somebody for doing something what's best for them. But I do see the ignorant comments, and I think that is where the frustration with a lot of black women come in at when it's they make those ignorant comments like she belongs in the kitchen anyway, or a woman would never run the country and all these other things, right? When black women have been running the black community for how long? You know what I'm saying? So to say that they can actually run a country, I'm not I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I have too much respect for black women and black men. So I don't want to become like a war between the two of us because I think Jill said it the other night, we need each other more. You know what I mean? Like we really need to find a way to come together. But those were my initial thoughts, man. And I honestly, I'm at a loss for words. I'm disappointed, but we just have to find a way to make the best of a bad situation. And Joe, I know you had your hand up, so go ahead. And I want to be clear, guys. Like you don't have to wait on me to cue you to talk. Like I want this to be an open conversation. If you got something to say, just jump in.
Joe, can I get 1 second? Because I just want to piggyback on something that Hook said. And it's not that I think black women are blaming black men for her losing. It's just that I know personally for myself, and even last time we had this show, and even one of my clients said to me, they were all focused on the money, right? They're like, follow the money, go to the money. He's going to show you where the money is. But it's like, are you forgetting about the life that you have to live with the money, right? Your families need to be protected. Your communities need to be protected. Education needs to be protected. It's not just about making money. And I think a lot of that for me, hearing black men say that made me angry. Like it's not about you being able to chase a coin when you're talking about the health and safety of our community. So go ahead, Joe.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. A couple things. I think some of the rhetoric that was pushed out there also didn't help her. For example, Hook, you had mentioned the insurrection, right? Yep. That's weird. Okay. You mentioned insurrection, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we give that particular incident way too much credit. Let me ask you something from a man that's from Allendale, South Carolina, beautiful town. You think that insurrection would have happened there?
If what again?
You think that insurrection would have happened in Allendale, South Carolina?
No, it wouldn't have.
Exactly. right? That's what I'm saying. I think we're giving that insurrection amongst other stuff too much credit.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, let's say if me and 10 guys beat up, some boys on the playground, is it really a fight? Now, let's say if my fraternity got into a fight with another fraternity, would that be considered a fight then? It's competition, right? It's a difference between an insurrection against somebody that you could get your ass beat by versus somebody that's not going to put up a fight. On the grounds of the Capitol, let me tell you what I saw with that insurrection. What I saw was the politicians that we elect and that we pay wasn't at work that day. That's what I saw. I saw an empty Capitol building, right? And when you have an empty Capitol building, especially when you have a whole bunch of people that's off work that day, try to run in, nobody there to stop them. Yeah, it looked like a riot. It looked like an insurrection. But the truth of the matter is nobody was there, right? And then on top of that, so now you expose the fact that these elected officials that we elect and that we pay wasn't even at work that day. That's number one. Number two, what I also noticed is that, especially just even talking on this panel alone, we're playing the blame game. Mm-hmm. No one ever talked about the fact that maybe, just maybe, her policies wasn't good enough to win the seat. Nobody's talking about her policies. In fact, if you go randomly ask anybody what particular policy of hers that she ran on that you supported, and outside of abortion, which I think is a crazy policy, outside of abortion, most people don't even talk about any of her policies. They either talk about what Trump did, they talk about, rhetoric, they call him a racist, call him a misogynist, call him a rapist. Everything's about Trump, or the fact that, enough brothers didn't vote, or enough white women didn't turn out to vote. No one talks about none of her policies, or the fact that her policies wasn't motivating enough to get people to vote for her. And that's all I do.
So why she's
so hold on. So wait, so I got something to say on this. A couple of things to say on this. First off, elected officials were at work when the insurrection happened because they were certifying the election. I have talked to people who work on the Hill, because I work in Democratic politics. So I do this every day. I have talked to people who work on the Hill. I have talked to staffers. They were in that building. They had to evacuate because people were coming in threatening them. I honestly believe if some of those protesters had access to some of those elected officials, we would have seen more violence than we saw that day. So this idea that they weren't at work and the building was empty is disingenuous and just not flat out not true. And also, I think it's lazy reporting or lazy tactics to say she only ran on abortion. Abortion, first off, is serious. There are women who are dying in states because of lack of abortion access. People are dying right now, and people will continue to die. And that wasn't the only thing that she ran on. She ran on economics. She had economic plans. She has plans for us. I know the plans because I looked the stuff up. I read it. So this idea that she was only running on abortion, I think is very lazy to say that's all you may have heard because maybe you didn't do the additional research. She wasn't just running on an anti-Trump platform. There were plans that she was running on. There was an agenda that she was running on. The only thing I might agree on is that she didn't have enough time to get her agenda out there, but she had surrogates that were out there. She had people door knocking out there in swing states. She was phone banking in swing states. She was text banking. I know this for a fact because I did some of that work. I have colleagues that did some of that work. So she was out there doing stuff. So I think we have to, if we're going to compare what was done and what wasn't done, we got to be honest about the facts of what was and wasn't done, and I agree. I'm not going to sit here and put all the blame on Black men, because the reality is the 20% of Black men that didn't vote for her, let's be honest, most of them probably don't vote Democratic anyway. You have Black men who are going to always vote Republican for whatever reason, and you have Black men who are just not going to vote. So I don't think our best efforts would have necessarily moved, or her best efforts would have moved that needle in any. So I'm not going to sit here and put the blame at Black men, because that 20% wouldn't have swayed an election. But let's be honest about what she did and she didn't do, and not say, oh, she only ran on an anti-Trump platform or pro-abortion platform. So that's not what happened.
Can I say something, please?
That's not what I said.
I want to piggyback on what you were saying, Ms. I agree. So I think we all agree that she did not have enough time, right? Now, what I disagree on is when you talk about, well, I can't disagree. I'm saying that she did have surrogates, but she needed a more diverse group of surrogates. And I see this a lot when we as blacks, right? And you are educated blacks. Sometimes you're how can I describe it? You're out of touch. So the educated blacks, these educated women, y'all are going to vote for Kamala, right? But you needed to diversify your surrogates to get the people that are not in your circle. And she did not have any of those people. And for example, like with President Obama, Anton Gunn. Anton's I consider a friend, very well known guy, right? But he's diverse. This was someone that Obama had as a surrogate. This guy played football for Carolina. Mom's a school teacher, brothers in the military. Look at how diverse he is as a surrogate, right? People can relate to him. And when you think about the people that she put in place, you have a lot of men that are not going to subscribe to or want to be affiliated with effeminate men that you have representing yourself, right? That's not who they want to be associated with. So you have to take those things into consideration. If you do have them, you have to have a few hardcore people. You have to have a few working class people. You can't just decorate your bus with these educated suit wearing, like back in the days, the light skinned black men that comb their hair backwards. You have to diversify yourself if you want to reach other people. You know what I'm saying? Not to take you all for granted, but she had all the educated black women. 90%, 93%. That shows. So why waste your time on that? And why not? How can she attract white women? That's the largest voting demographics in the United States of America. What did she do to attract white women? That's a question for you to ponder for a minute. And if you want to take this stuff seriously, and I think she can do a great job if she have more time and if she's serious about it. But there are changes that are going to have to be made to her campaign. And another thing, look at the disparity in the monies that were donated. The largest Democratic donator was Bloomberg with like 40 something million. The Republicans had 4 donors that donated over $500 million to the campaign. How can you compete with that? You don't have the ad space. You don't have the marketing. You don't have the things that are required. And those are the people that put money behind Donald Trump. And my advice is to take a look at that list. He's here for 4 years. Find a way to navigate this time while we're here and capitalize on it. It clearly states the top donors. You can see their line of business and whatever industry they're a part of, and either invest in it or try to find a way to do some business with them, because obviously he's going to owe favors to these people. So they are going to make money.
Again, that money thing.
Yeah, so I was gonna.
Why do y'all go to work every day?
No, hold on. I was actually gonna agree with some of the things you were saying before you get all hostile over there.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not getting hostile. I'm saying, why do we go to work every day? It comes down to money. You got to pay the bills.
Simmer down.
But there was something that Hook said that I just had a conversation with surprisingly a white married woman and a white, well, a Spaniard, his person from Puerto Rico, at my son's tutoring. And what really stood out for me was the relatable part, right? And so I think, like I said before, like we put a lot of focus on our race and gender because those are the things that are most prominent. And people always have hidden agendas. We'll never know why they didn't vote, why they voted, if they're racist, if it's because she's a woman or if she's Black. But one thing for sure for me that resonated was, I don't know how much she related to the people that were the ones that bridged that gap for President Obama to be president, right? And so she's an educated, multicultural woman that parents are highly educated, that came from not maybe a privileged background, but definitely not an underserved one. And so when we look at the vast majority, like Hook has said, of our voters, how many of them are going to research? How many of them are going to go and actually figure out, like, is this woman capable? And realistically, for history and elections, we don't vote based on capability. We vote based on how you make me feel. What do I feel when I watch you on TV? One of the things that I felt that was very similar to when Hillary ran is that a lot of times as women, we feel like we have to present ourselves in a certain way to be able to impress others. And the common voter, really all they really want is you, to know what you're going to do for them, to know what you're going to bring to the table for their family. And I think that a lot of times we spend so much time trying to show that we're smart, we're intelligent, we got this, and we forget that the people that's going to vote for us, they don't really care about any of that stuff.
Right.
And I think that, you know, just from my little experience in campaigning, one of the most difficult things that I have ever done, I'm not sure about Melissa's experience, is work for women that are in power. And not that they're not great women, it's just it's hard for them to understand that your message has to reach someone. Like, no one cares how many degrees you have. Nobody cares how much money you have. Nobody cares what you did in California. So a good example that I used to one of the ladies was, one of the things that she did campaign was that was a great accomplishment was what she did in California for the homeowners, but the majority of the voters can't even afford homes.
Right.
So you should start by talking about how you're going to get them into homes. And then you follow up by saying, and when you're in that home, I'm going to make sure that you're not able, that no one can take advantage of you. And I think that her messaging, that's the one thing I can agree with Hook. And I can't believe, I mean, not Hook, with Cole, and I can't believe I'm saying this and I'm agreeing with Cole, is that a lot of times when we have intellectual people running, we have to realize that the common voter is not at that intellectual level. And it's not that they're dumb. It's just that their everyday doesn't allow them to want to have, it doesn't motivate them to want to do the research because they're probably working 2 and 3 jobs, blue collar jobs that are extremely tiring, right? They have families. And so I always say this when I was heavily involved in politics, that our messaging, especially with intellectual Democrats, need to go back to the standard educational standard of a second and third grader, because most of our voters are not comprehending on that higher level.
Right.
And
right.
that's just my piece on that.
Thank you, Bruce, for your comment. We appreciate it.
I know, right? Hey, Kimberly and Curtis, what about you guys? What are you thinking about the dialogue?
So I'll say, as far as the dialogue, based off the statistics that have come out so far with who voted and everything, I know some people focus on women, men, or Black women, Black men. That is the predominant conversation around most. Literally, the whole entire thing is Black men, Black women. I would just kind of put it where I would agree to the point where men did show up to vote for her. Granted, the number could have been better? Absolutely, just like you guys said already. Did Black women show up to vote for her? Absolutely, they did. But to a point where women, just in general, didn't come up to support her. That's where, for me, I look at it and I see a problem, because when you're talking about and abortion laws has been a thing where people have just been kind of saying, oh, let's talk about abortion. Abortion is our key talking point, not her specifically, but her supporters. Abortion, abortion, abortion. That kind of just became the norm of what people began to talk about as abortion, which was not the only thing that she put out there, what she was trying to do for the American people, not for Black people, not for people of color, but the American people, to make things right, to make things, an even playing field. For me, I personally think that just women didn't show up. They didn't fact check. Just like we said on Tuesday night, fact check. If you got questions about something, go to a reliable source, fact check whatever it is that you need. And I truly believe a lot of white women did not vote for her is because the color of her skin. That's one. And the fact that they felt that she did not disassociate herself with Biden from Biden to be able to say, hey, would you change anything? You know, a lot of married white women are married to old white men. And when you're talking about money, at the end of the day, they want to keep the money in house. So they feel like these last years, all we've been doing is kicking out money. So, of course, you're in the married household or, you know, you're listening to what people are saying. People don't want to spend more money. They feel like there would be no way for her to change those policies or procedures, anything that's out to be able to keep America from spending so much money. And I have to say America and not the black population or people of color. It's just truly, we don't want to spend no money. And if they would have sat down and truly researched, okay, so how is she going to save me and my family money? Let me look that up instead of going by word of mouth off of what Curtis says or off of what Cole says or off of what Kimberly says. Let me verify that information for my own self to be able to make a precise decision. Also, get in there having a lot of other rights taken away from them. You know, it's just things that have been said by Donald Trump that for me, women in general, and even men, didn't look at it as a problem. Look at it as, how can I sit here and vote for somebody who is a convicted felon to run the country? How can I, as a person, American citizen, allow somebody who more than likely is probably going to cause a war, that's just my opinion, with foreign nations, take away funds that we are spending overseas to help, you know, less fortunate countries to be able to fight their battles. So that's something that we don't have to worry about, or, you know, they block how our imported goods come in, or, you know, it's a lot, man. It's just, I don't think people really fact check. And that's the problem for me. It's the fact check. A lot of people do not fact check.
Look, I got a question because I keep seeing these comments about her not being black and her racial profile. And I'm just like, what is black?
I think this is pure ignorance.
And then why why, I guess for me, it's like when someone of a different color or a different race runs, why do we have to focus on that? Like, nobody says that Irish, you know, part Jew man is running for president. Like, people don't describe candidates that are not of
color,
the minority group, in color. So why? I mean, I think one of the best things for me in the Obama campaign was how he pivoted that whole thing until the end, right? So when Trump started to try to make him the black candidate, his campaign pivoted that whole thing and made him a candidate for the people. And I think that that's something that we're not, I mean, I just got tired of hearing about her being a black woman. Like, being a woman, great. But
it goes back to Charlemagne. They made it the narrative. Even the news stations made it the narrative. So once they made it the narrative, we picked up on it because I just don't understand how we picked
up on it. Yes, but her team's responsibility is to change the story and the narrative. In politics, you control that. And so that's why I kept saying,
it's identity politics.
Yeah, so I mean, so that's why I kept saying, like, Donald Trump didn't win. I feel like the Democratic Party lost. And I've been reading, like I shared with you guys today, like a lot of, you know, commentary from people on how they feel as far as us as Black women, like what we support and what, you know, like all the energy that we put into everybody else's causes. And I agree with that. But I also feel like a lot of those people, how involved are you in your advocacy in your communities? Because being mad about people not respecting us as a race and a gender doesn't change if the faces that they see when it comes to the law and politics are not us. Mm-hmm. So we got to change that narrative, and we don't have enough people to make the movement large. But I feel like if we can have a message that's more inclusive, and I think, like, you know, that I think someone, it may have been Cole, said, you know, Barack Obama won not because he was a Black man. Right. He won because people was able to relate with a human being that had a single mom. They were able to relate to a human being that have struggled in some way. You know, a lot of the stories that they push were his start, his journey, you know, and so being from the south side of Chicago,
And
you
he
know,
admitted
so
to him healing.
right. And so I think that, and then people also connected because he had a genuine spirit. So whatever
Yes.
he said, you believed. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the things that I like that Melissa said is that we need to find a way as a community to groom more of our women. It doesn't have to be Black women to be able to be at the forefront in politics, because until then, we're going to be having the same conversation about the same things and complaining about the same things. And granted, the Black race, unfortunately, in America is not the most populated race. And of course, with the, you know, like with no more affirmative action, everyone that checked Black before not going to check white because they don't need it. So I just feel like our conversation is going to have to be different, and we need to use these 4 years to build our party and to create candidates where people don't have to question whether they voted for them or didn't vote for them because they were Black or a woman, but they voted for them because they're a Democrat, and these are the policies, and this is the direction that they would like the country to go. And that's my take on that.
To your point, Shanice, I think we don't focus on the Irish or historically, you know, whatever country a white person comes from, because white is looked at as a default. So it's her being Black is what's out the norm. I comment about the foundational Black Americans and American descendant of slavery and all that. Y'all, the boat just stopped a different place. I mean, literally, the boat just stopped a different place. Whether it stopped here in the continental United States or it stopped in the islands, Jamaicans are still Black. And there was still slavery in Jamaica, just like there was slavery in the islands. And so this idea that she's not Black, I didn't know Jamaicans weren't Black until this election, and people start claiming that they're not. But it shouldn't matter overall. But the fact is, the woman says she's Black. Why are we questioning that? And I saw somebody's comment about her with incarcerating all these Black men in San Francisco. That didn't happen. Okay, so go look at the facts and go actually, we've got to stop with listening to people on TikTok and social media and actually go research and look at the actual facts. And about her being relatable,
What are the facts?
you actually looked at the DNC. She had people up there talking about her story. You know, she was also from a single mom. Her dad wasn't around. Yes, she's from educated people, but I think as Black women, I mean, I agree with the comment about we need to know how to talk to voters. I agree with that. But I don't know how much more she can dumb herself down that's not her being authentic. I mean, y'all, she's not Ivy League educated. She went to a state school for law school at HBCU. I don't know how much more relatable you can get than that. And if you actually listen to her story, I think a lot of this is as a factor of people not actually researching from the source, and instead listening to talking points, listening to pundits, listening to social media talking heads, and not going directly to the source to get their information about what's being said. We can critique legitimate stuff, but I think, and not to get on the conspiracy theory, a lot of this is just intentional disinformation to mislead people. So a lot of this is not necessarily Americans or Black people with the talking points. A lot of this is being pushed by bad actors, bad faith actors who are pushing disinformation for the purpose of confusing us, and it worked.
But
but
Melissa, that's politics, right? Like,
no, it is politics, but
right?
we have to figure out a way to get through that.
Yeah, but
not just politics. Not just
but
politics.
you're not going to change America, right?
When you're telling low-level constituents.
Don't say low level. That's not good.
No, that's what she's saying. Like, the people that did not vote. We saw by statistics, the people that did not vote were how they categorize them as uneducated people, right? It's much instead of expecting uneducated people to research and do the things that you're asking, what she should have done is had her surrogates to research. And like we said, do you know the Fleisch-Kincaid readability statistics, right? It tells the level.
I know it's about an average third grade. Yeah.
So that is what the average newspaper articles are written, or a lot of print between third to sixth grade level, because that's where you can meet people. So you're talking all this intellectual talk. We can grasp what you're saying, but do you know how many people you're going to lose?
But to be fair, you're talking about newspapers and stuff like that. Those are all owned by conservative
No. You missed my point. My point is you need to tone it down. No, my point is you need to bring the level down if you want to communicate with people. You want to communicate with working class, high school dropouts in a lot of cases. Some people with a vocational diploma. Those are the people that you want to communicate with. You cannot reach them by trying to sit up on an ivory tower. So you're going to miss.
I agree with that. I agree with bringing it down, but people also got to be responsible for getting their information from more than just some of the major.
They're not researchers. They're not researchers.
But my point is, the major news outlets are all conservatively owned. So when you're getting your information from the Fox Newses, when you're getting your information from TikTok, when you're getting your information from talking heads off of YouTube, and thinking that you're doing your research, when you're getting your information,
they're not researching. Is my point. They're not researching.
Oh, let her finish.
You have to have a scientist.
She said they think they're researching.
Oh, mute him.
Yeah. Yeah. They think they're researching is what they think they're doing.
Well, I think to the point for both of you guys is we as a party need to figure out how we reach the people that are not going to research. That's just the bottom line.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So
like Obama did.
Correct. So if we know that TikTok and bad actors or whatever it takes to get people to vote for the right candidate, then we need to improvise and create models that reach these people. I mean, that's just because we're not going to change people that are not going to take time to read. We're not going to convince them that reading is fundamental, even though they've heard it since they were in kindergarten. We're not going to convince them that it's important for them to go and figure out exactly if this, if what this person says is different. We can't even convince them to just go and see the difference in the news being reported from Fox News and MSNBC. So I think that my biggest point is that I just really feel like the party, and I've been saying this for a very long time, need to switch the way that we present our messages. Our messaging is off or it's non-existent. So everything that I told you, and I need to be clear, isn't that it didn't happen. I'm telling you what people are saying because something didn't connect. I don't know what it is because I haven't done a lot of research in it. And honestly, I try to stay as vested out of this election as possible because I didn't want my heart broken like Shannon is feeling right now. No, I'm being honest because I just knew that the end result would not have been in our favor. And so with just feeling that and like Hook says, staying hopeful, I was hopeful and I was pushing it and I was talking all the good things about her. Like, no, y'all should. But the only thing people do is turn on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. Those are our main media outlets. So until you can start paying people like the Republicans do, or understanding how effective that is. And I think the grassroots campaigning thing, of course, she didn't have enough time to do that because that takes a lot of work and time. But that is an important component in getting people to not just Black people, because we're going to vote for you most of the time. Like and it showed the majority of us voted for her, right? But we're not the bigger population. So how do we convince the 50-50 Hispanics in a 3-month period that she's the right candidate when they go to the gas station in Miami and it's $4 a gallon in gas? And everything isn't about money, Shannon, and I agree with that. But unfortunately, if you are making $60,000 and still struggling, the first thing you're gonna do is change who you think caused that struggle. So maybe we needed to educate the people that they're struggling because of what Donald Trump did when he was in office, and that they didn't struggle in his, when he was in office because of what, President Barack Obama did. Those are simple things that would have captivated the audience, because then they would then start to think like, wait, so that's not the main effect of current. And then you get even the people that Hook wants to call uneducated, because I won't use that word, but the individual.
Cool. Not Hook.
I don't know why she keep calling you.
I don't know why I keep calling, because I guess I don't want to call Cole's name.
But I think part of the issue is also is that there's so many reasons across the board why things didn't transpired the way we had hoped they would be. And there's so many reasons why people vote the way that they vote. And there's so many reasons why our emphasis on community has become more individualized, right? It's always about what am I going to gain? What am I going to gain? And it's just that our society has changed so much, even from when Obama was running for president. Society has changed so much. It's so hard to pinpoint that thing, that golden ticket that will make it all better, right?
And Shannon, I agree with you on that.
Why? Yeah, everybody has a reason why their point of view is right and your point of view is wrong, when we're all still going through the same human experience and struggling with all of the same things, right? Yeah. But what's important to me is less important to you, so we can't see eye to eye.
How many people in y'all immediate circles? How many people in y'all immediate circles?
Hold tight. Hey, Kim, we're gonna get you.
Been quiet the entire night. I haven't said much.
I was about to say, hold on to your place.
Yeah, I have been very quiet, but
he muted you last time. Talk, girl.
Exactly. I think it comes down to what you said, Shannon, that we can't compare the race of Obama to Kamala. We have to look at the years. I've changed in 10 years. My attention span is different in 10 years. So we can't even compare that. Another thing is, I think we put more accountability for her than him, which is so disappointing. Like, he didn't hide anything. He lied. He did whatever he wanted to do. And we still held her to a higher standard. Oh, well, she needed to do this. She didn't reach this person. She didn't do this and she didn't do that. So that's the part that just upsets me. You know, I'm dealing with the fact that she did lose. But this blame game is really irritating. It's very, very irritating because we can't really put all the blame on. She was put in a position where she had to run, period. All we had to do was support.
Yep. Joe, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought now when I was agreeing with what Kim just said, the blame thing. No, it's all good. It's all good. I think like I said before, like we was talking about, her standard or her requirements may have been different from Obama. Obama, like I said, one, he had time to campaign. Two, he had a legit platform. I don't know Kamala's platform. I don't know really, like I said, and maybe I'm not saying that she didn't have one. The point is, all I hear is the rhetoric and the abortion. So whatever that she was, fighting for or, promoting, people that may be on the sideline don't know who they're going to vote for, couldn't hear none of that. So that agenda needs to be the priority more so than you talking about what another person has done in their career. Oh.
I like talking in capital letters. You better talk in capital letters.
I know, right?
Can I ask a question right quick? And I want to ask this to Melissa. Do you think that part of the problem with Democrat was the DNC chair? Because I'm just asking a question because I'm not that deep into it. So do you think that the DNC kind of failed her?
I don't know what they could have done different because they invested a lot in down ballot races. Kamala invested a lot in down ballot races. You would think that, yes, it may have been a DNC problem, the fact that we lost the House and the Senate too. I am not ready to put blame there because I saw the money coming and trickling down into the states. Kamala invested money into down ballot races. And the fact that we weren't able to hold some of those seats is problematic to me, and we lost the number of seats that we did. It's also confusing when you have a North Carolina and all of their top of the ballot voted Democratic, but then you have Kamala losing North Carolina. Like stuff like that doesn't quite make sense, and I haven't been able to figure it out yet. And yes, I see the comment about Black pastors supporting abortion and LGBTQ+. There were plenty of Black pastors that I've spoken to that are pro-Democrat and are pro-people being able to have rights. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it's messaging. I think Shanice mentioned, messaging. Democrats are notoriously bad at messaging. I'll give you that. We are not always getting our message out there. I do think it's disingenuous to think that Kamala should have dumbed down her approach more than what she could have. I think the messaging could have been better across the board. I also don't think that she was talking at a quote unquote educated level, more educated than Barack Obama did. Although I saw somebody in the comments that we won't have another person with the vocabulary and intelligence of Barack Obama, when I think Kamala was very much there herself. But I would say messaging was probably a big part of the problem. And to Joe's point, if we don't get the message to the right person and we don't get the platform to the right person, it doesn't matter that we have the policies if we're not getting it out to the right person. And so from a time standpoint, she had policies, there was messaging, it just wasn't getting out to the right people. I don't know how to fix that because we had a ground game. We were door knocking, we were phone banking, we were text banking. She was doing rallies. I don't know what the answer is to fix any of that beyond what we did.
Everybody looked alike. Diversify.
I don't
Everybody looked alike. Everybody.
I also think that messaging had to be made in a very short period of time. Right?
I think that it wasn't a part about. It wasn't a part about the physical. She did a lot of cleanup for her image, and a lot of her supporters. A lot of them had to physically go out and debunk her being a DA, prosecutor, all of that crap. People were putting stuff out, so they were giving a bad name for her herself. And then, people saying that you're the vice president, why you didn't make any changes. Again, a part of education. She can't make these laws. She can't, sit here and propose all these laws because that's not her job. That's not up under her description as the vice president. And I think people don't have an understanding of truly what her job is and what she's tasked to do. And the fact that people are just saying, well, you've been the vice president for 4 years, you haven't done anything. Okay, but it's not her job. It's the president's job. President listens to the American people and the trickle down effect of what the problems are happening in America, what people all are talking about, all of that. People are not understanding what her job was at the end of the day. And when you're talking about delivering the message, her message can be delivered in so many facets or so many ways, dumbed down on the most proficient sound level. It boiled down to the American people did not want her in there because she did not associate herself from the Biden administration. Even though she's a part of it, they wanted her to remove herself from him and make changes that would benefit them. And a part of it was the money. I don't want to spend no more money, regardless of the skin color she is, the American citizens. It doesn't matter about all of that. At the end of the day, they didn't care about it. That 40-something% of white women and 50-something% white men that voted for Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure they probably wouldn't have voted for him had she pretty much addressed that concern. Look, I know the American people, you out here, you're worried about how we can save you money or how I'm going to propose saving you money in the next 4 years. I think that would have been a pivotal point for her during her administration or during her campaigning. But I mean, again, she spent a lot of time and her supporters sitting here saying, she didn't do this and she's not that. And we're fact checking this. And again, the Democrats, they can work on better delivery as far as what her plan was. Because, I mean, again, Donald Trump said, I don't have a plan. He said it on national television. He just goes up there and he just talks about anything off the top of his head. And I know she comes up, try to make sure that she's very, proficient in front of everybody or the American people to make sure that this is what I'm doing, X, Y, Z. But a lot of those interviews that she had, and just like I'm going to agree with you, when she went on Steve Harvey Morning Show, Charlamagne the God, you're talking about Black hosts who make majority of their interview with her about Black problems or people of color problems. Mm-hmm. And that's, and I will agree, that should have been unified for the American people, because there are people who not of color that may listen to the Steve Harvey Morning Show or replays of the Steve Harvey Morning Show on other radio stations and different things. It should have been just a little bit different. And, maybe she could have redirect, but I know she don't like to not answer questions, but it's things like that. I feel like that it could have made a big difference and a pivotal point in her campaigning to be able to get those women and those men who did not want to vote for Trump. But all Trump kept saying was, we're going to lower this and we're going to do that. Yeah, if you hear somebody constantly say that, and that's a repeated commercial, repeated TikTok video or Instagram video or something, that's all they're going to hear in the back of their mind when that is their concern, is that money, money, money. And this man is saying, I'm going to do this for you regarding some form of financial, help. Then yeah, that's who I'm going to vote for, because he's saying it. That's all he's saying.
Yeah, and I'm probably going to regret this, but Cole, I'm gonna ask you anyway. And then specifically because I know on Tuesday night, Cole and Joe are kind of on the same, making a lot of the same points, right? So I want to hear from Cole, and then I want to hear from Joe, and the rest of you guys can kind of chime in. So
they're both down at the bottom today.
Yeah. So Coach Sean,
they don't behave.
Yeah, so do you guys think that the better candidate won?
How do you define better? What metrics?
That's for you to define. So I want you to tell me, do you think that the better candidate won, and why?
I think that the right candidate won because of all of the factors that we said. I also want to say that I want the women, the people on the panel, to go back and listen to themselves. And something I want to ask a rhetorical question. Curtis, Kim, Shannon, Shanice, Melissa, how many people in your immediate circles are high school dropouts? How many people coming to your homes or in your immediate circles that you speak to daily are convicted felons? And a lot of times we're not associated with these people, and there's a disconnect. I heard every one of you say that these people have to research. These people should find this. So there are communities where you have a generation between college graduates. Like you may have somebody graduate in 1960, the next person to go to college is in the 80s. So you have a large number of laborers with no formal education. They do not have, you have men age 50 to 70 with no access to social media. They aren't on TikTok. They aren't getting disinformation. They just aren't getting the information at all. So until you all come off, down from the ivory tower, and if you can't communicate with them, not you personally, if you cannot communicate with them, hire someone that can get out there and stomp the pavement with these non-degree individuals, the ones that are not technologically savvy, the ones that work in high labor industries, and be able to communicate with them. Don't just blame them. Oh, they need to research. Oh, they need to learn. They need to read. They don't research. If they did, they would not have been in the situation that they're in. But their vote counts just as much as yours. You can have more degrees than a darn thermometer. You can have 3 PhDs, EDDs, whatever. A dropout that works at Walmart, their vote counts just the same as yours.
Hey, are we assuming that all dropouts work at Walmart? What you doing?
No, I'm just saying. Don't not literally, figuratively speaking.
Okay.
Their vote counts just the same as yours. So don't think that you're more valuable than they are when it comes to voting, and don't think that they do not have to be reached. So until they come up with a way to reach those people, you see how Donald Trump, obviously he reaches the intellectuals, he reaches the multi-millionaires, the super rich, he reaches the billionaires, but he also reaches the hillbillies. He has a ton of hillbillies and non-educated whites that support him. He found surrogates. He found ways to reach those people. And until we do the same, there's always going to be a disconnect.
All right. And Joe, what about you? Do you think the better candidate won?
Do I think the better candidate won? Yes, absolutely. And it's not to Kamala's fault. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually like Kamala Harris a lot. And it's very unfortunate she was even put in this position in the first place, because, you know, once you run for that office, you got to be able to take the scrutiny that comes along with it. And I hate that she had to go through that. However, with Trump, like if it was Trump against Biden and Trump would have won, I still would have said Trump. And the reason being, number one, I think that his experience helps out a lot. What was that? Sicario Cloud? Okay. Anyways, bottom line is, I think with Trump's experience, I think that helps out a lot. He made it clear on certain things that he was planning to do that I support. So yeah, I mean, based on what he already put on the table, that's what I wanted. That's what I needed, and that's what. So I think he's a better.
Say it with your chest, baby, because I don't know either.
Okay, Kim. Kim, what about you? Do you think the better candidate won?
I really don't have any comments after everyone else. I don't think. I'm a person of integrity, and Trump has showed himself numerous times. So I can't say that he has a policy, that he has anything to sit here and say that he was the better choice, the better person that won. So I would have took my chance on someone that was brand new. At least they like people. So that's why I think about all people and how it benefits them, even the ones who are not educated to know any better. I just don't think about myself. So yeah, that's where I stand.
I think I'm recontemplating my entire life, because just how you separate someone's policies from their character, I just don't understand. Like, how do you expect for them to have policies that are fair, balanced, protect, and help when they're awful people?
Yeah.
And how do you think that is going to benefit us as a country in the long run?
Yeah. I don't see how we can say that the better candidate won, and this man admitted on national TV that he didn't have a plan. He had the concept of a plan. So you mean to tell me he's a better candidate and he didn't even know what he's going to do? He's simply just running because he knows that he knows his support. Yeah, he knows his support. He knows his support.
I got a question.
I'm going to say this with the two that agree
what's his
with him.
policy on the border?
He failed at it.
He wants to do mass deportation. That's his policy.
Right,
mass deportation. That's not a policy.
Okay.
How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to do
more
it?
So for you. Yeah, I got you. Look, what's his policy on the border?
He already said it. He's going to do mass deportation. I mean, like,
is he going to close the border or not?
He said he is. That's what he said.
You already know. So you know his policies. What do you think?
Right though.
No. You're talking about one thing that he said. This man, like on anything else. No, listen. Even Joe, even on debate night, and I found it comical because Kamala even commented on it. She was like, the only thing he's gonna do when we start talking about one thing, he's gonna go back to deportation. And no matter what they talked about, he went back to that same thing. That's all he has. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is,
you just said he didn't have no policies, and you just named one of them.
But okay, so
it's not a policy.
That's not a policy, Joe.
No. Here's the thing. No, here's the thing. Joe, you said the same thing about Kamala.
What's a policy?
But we talked about abortion.
I'm a C student.
But we talked about abortion. So we got abortion for Kamala. We got abortion for Kamala. We got deportation for Donald. Other than deportation, what the hell else does he have?
Well, for one, he wants to keep boys out of the
domestic industry.
Who?
What?
Domestic industries. He's about the Kissel and Berry amendments, the Buy America Act. Look at the domestic companies, because these are things a lot of you don't know about. So don't knock it. He's about domestic industry, domestic business. His supporters.
Did
Look
he
at the
say
people.
that, or that's the research you have
Now,
Yes,
done?
he did. That's
he
what
said he had a concept or something. He ain't say
No,
none of that.
he
Yes,
clearly
No,
stated.
exactly.
Hook, to
He
be fair,
clearly
he
stated.
has a plan, and it's called Project 2025, and
That's not
we're
his
gonna
plan.
all be hurting when that plan is implemented. So no, he
And,
has
and,
a
and
plan.
that's
I
exactly
just
that
what
his
Project
plan?
Kamala
2025
lost.
is what it
Is
is.
that his plan? Is that his plan?
That's exactly what Kamala lost.
It's his advisors' plan. The people that
Is
are
that his
advising him
plan?
is
You
Right,
providing
but
to
talking
him.
about
Yes.
his
you talking
Who
about
do
advisors
you
not
think is
running
going to
for
implement
president.
that
you talking
plan?
about
I just hope
researching
you,
and
Joe,
disinformation.
and Cole, y'all don't have to eat your words in 3 years, 2
I'm
years.
You want to know who
Time.
hurt them?
I'll
Who hurt
be
But
them?
Cole ain't gonna eat nothing because Cole just gonna
nah.
benefit from
No,
whatever
Let me
these
put this
no, and
policies
here's
disclaimer
are.
out.
Yes,
Oh, he gonna
For
open
me,
that truck.
it don't
That truck
matter
and come
who's
you
the
back up.
president. Like
he
I
gonna
said,
open it back
I'm gonna be
up.
fine
and,
regardless.
not
here's the thing though. Like I know
I'm just
for
saying Trump is better president for me.
because one of the
So,
things that and that's because and if that's your
So
and
bump
I have no issue with anybody voting for somebody because they feel they're the best president. I just wanted to understand why. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say for no matter for me, no matter whether Kamala would have won or Trump would have won, me and my household have been blessed.
right.
So I'm not going to be impacted negatively in
Bingo.
any shape
Right.
or form. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
But
what that's why I understand
however,
why people get emotional about it. I agree.
I do know that because one of the things I was going to ask is, how do you guys think that, like, aside from you personally, right? One of the things I was going to ask is, how do you see the lives of your loved ones being impacted? So it's not going to impact me personally, but I know it's going to impact a lot of people I care about.
Exactly.
And Melissa, I see you have your hand raised. So how do you think that
How
this
do you know it's not going to
Yes.
impact you
So
personally?
to Cole's point about low education voters and how many people we talk to on a regular basis, I grew up in the hood. My grandmother had a 5th grade education. My mama barely graduated high school. So yes, don't let the degrees don't matter, because at the end of the day, on the holidays, I still go back to the hood. These are people that I talk to every single day. I have family that are on Social Security. I have family on Medicaid. I have family on Medicare. I have family on SNAP. Those are things that they need to survive every day. That is going to be threatened to be taken away, because the Republicans have already said they want to do away with entitlements. They have said they want to do away with safety net programs. So if those things are taken away, I don't know what my family would do. So, and I have people that I love that are, yes, LGBTQ plus, and no, they are not a threat, but their livelihood, their families are at threat there. So I think, this idea that I'm only going to vote for my best interest instead of my whole community's interest,
Yeah.
I think is selfish, and that I'm not going to vote for people who I love. And
Yeah.
I hear people on social media talking about, if you're saying you're not going to be friends with people because of who they vote for, it's a morality thing. It's a value thing.
Yeah.
I cannot be
Exactly.
friends with someone who is willing to take my rights away and to take away the rights of the people that I love. We can't be friends on that. I'm sorry.
But you're going against them.
It's a dating game.
I
It's a
saw
dating
Melissa.
game.
I agree with you. It's a
dating
morality
game.
thing. I
Do
just
we
pray
have
it
a
doesn't
match?
hurt anyone's family or children. They're so hung up on this, because I just can't believe on morality and just on character. You say, "Well, he's good for me."
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I
because
just
people
can't.
don't vote
It's
based on
disappointing.
Selfish.
I
This
can't help anybody else if I'm broke.
That's not true.
KO, you are
If
sounding.
It's not
I'm
true.
broke.
That is the most asinine thing I ever heard you say.
Well, tell me how I'm gonna help them when I'm broke. Tell me. Give me the plan.
You can help people without money. It's not the only way you help people.
Tell me how. I want you to tell me how.
I just told you.
And you didn't. You didn't say anything. Tell me how.
You can do lots of things for people. You can
Tell
help.
me how. You still haven't said anything yet. Tell me
Cole,
how.
did you grow up?
Well, I mean,
Cole, did you
cool.
grow up poor? Because if you grew up poor,
I
you would know the
did.
answer to that question.
No,
We
no,
have
no.
done
Let's not go wrong.
we
Just
have
tell
done
me.
for our people for
You
years
said I
without
didn't ask
having the
that.
resources. Poor people have
Tell
taken
me
care of
how.
our families for years without having a whole bunch of money.
More resources and money. Thank you.
Because
Please
we're
tell me.
all
That's
Cole,
what I'm not
we're
gonna
all
do.
in we're all members of a divine nine organization. So we do things every day for people without, you know what I'm saying, having to actually come out of our
A bunch
out
of
of our
money.
pocket.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
What
don't
can
say
you do about that?
so we've been making a difference for centuries, you know what I'm
Yeah, and
saying?
the reason I didn't give you a specific
What can
scenario
we
is
do
because
about money?
it's not worth me giving you a specific scenario for that, because we do things all the time. We do things for people that don't cost us money.
Tell me.
show kindness. We show favor to people that don't cost us money. You can help people without having to
Give
spend
me an
money.
example. We can't even eat in this without money. You cannot eat every day without money. You can't turn your lights on without money. Everything that you do requires money.
I didn't say that there were things that you could not do that you didn't need money. I said there are things you can do without money.
And I asked you to
Very
tell me,
different statement.
and I haven't gotten an answer yet.
And
Everybody,
I'm not going to give you one.
nine. No one has one answer yet. Not one person has given an answer. So when I say my special interests are ways that I can generate money and help my business grow, I help my family.
You don't need to.
I cannot help people. You cannot eat without money. You can't turn your lights on without
You
money.
help
You
people
wash your
without
behind
money.
without money.
Money
Your
is
water
not
costs
money
money.
does not drive everything. Like Hook was saying, we do our organizations where we do things without large cash sums of money, large
Please
dumps
give
of
me an
money.
example.
Does not drive
Give me an
everything that we do. I don't
Please give me
believe
an example.
But so
So I think Cole, I think whenever, so from what I'm
Y'all
hearing
are
is
not
like
giving me
most of the
answers. You're
things
not
that
going to
you
talk
are,
around it. Tell me
most of
one
the
thing.
questions that you're posing, it
Mute
always
him,
comes from a
Hook.
place. It comes from a place where it's like you're putting yourself in that shoe, and like it's what you would do or what you would say or how
It's my vote.
you would.
You're right.
Right, but you're asking us to give an example for something that we know, we already know, just how you say this intellectual thing and these people
But
being not
nobody give an
educated.
answer.
But at the end of the day, you're asking questions about things like we already know money makes the world go round. This is the world we live. It's the economy. We know that. But the point that everybody's trying to make, and don't have to give an example for every single question, is
Yes,
that
you do. If you say I'm wrong,
there are things that's capable to be done without money. We know you need money to turn the lights on. We know you
please
need
tell me
money
one
to be
thing.
able to eat. We already know all of that. We know all of that. We already know that. But at the end of the day, like you just got to understand that part of the principles that the Divine Nine was created upon was given back to the community, and not everything requires $1.
So I was gonna say, I think that you guys are arguing not the same thing, but things that are relatable. So everything isn't about money. However, the messaging that I mentioned and Melissa talked about, that requires money. Pivoting your messaging requires a whole lot of money, which probably historically why we as Democrats haven't done a great job. It's not that we're not trying; it's the fact that we don't have the money to put out the high scale ads like the other party does. But I also think that one of the things, like you guys mentioned, the times have changed. The times have changed where when you're considered like what is the poverty level, who fits into that poverty level, and who's really struggling. So unfortunately, when you look at a lot of the statistics, and there's a lot of underserved people that do depend on different public assistance programs. But there's a great majority now of working people that are still poor because even if they make good money, they're not able to pay for the things for their families that they would have been able to pay for 10 years ago. And so I think that, yes, everything doesn't require money, but if you had it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when your salary was good enough to support your family, now when it's not, then you start second guessing exactly what your interest should be. But I think Cole, like Shannon and everybody else is right. Like we have to find a way where we have a common ground where we can't only have self-interest, right? Because I'm pretty sure you're talking about your immediate touch, but I'm pretty sure there's people in your circle, in your community, in your family that are going to be impacted by any public assistance being removed, especially Medicare. I mean, a lot of our elderly are on Medicare. So let's take away the lazy people that's on Medicaid and SNAP, right? People like to say, oh, everybody on SNAP and Medicaid lazy. So what about your grandmother or grandfather who worked all those years, paid into the Social Security system, and they may not be able to get the same amount that they were getting before. And they're already struggling to pay for those expensive medications that Medicare don't pay for if they don't have a Medicare Part C that they have to pay for, right? And so I think that I get what you're saying, But I think that you have to broaden your thought process, because maybe not your immediate family, but there is going to be people around you that are going to be heavily impacted by the decisions that are going to be made by the radical right. Just like how there is decisions that the radical left makes that impacts our families as well. So we definitely have to find, for me, more of a balance in the aisles so that we can provide for a bigger scope of people, and especially the working poor.
So I heard from Cole and Melissa, obviously, but I do want to hear from the rest of y'all as well. Same question. How do you see the lives of your loved ones being impacted? You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's more than we're all all a part of these organizations. We're college educated, whatever the case is. So some of these things may or may not impact us directly. However, you know, I know that myself and Curtis, we're from the Low Country. He's from Blackville. I'm from Allendale. You know, very impoverished areas. So you know, we have a lot of family back there. So they don't have a lot of the resources that we have. So I do worry. I am concerned about my mom. My mom is getting up in age now. She's by herself. So I do have concern about her and a lot of my family back home. So how do you guys, like, based on the election results and the administration, or what you think this administration is or is not going to do, how do you think the lives of your loved ones are going to be educated? And I'm sorry, Kim, I want to start with you.
You know, I have a grandmother I have to think about, so I'm still blessed to have her. I have a father that I just lost that we had to, you know, not necessarily struggle, but to pay for medicine and medications before he passed away. So that is near and dear to my heart, and I have heart disease. So just all of those factors that come in play, you know, I just don't know what's going to happen next. You know, I just don't. So it does bother me. Um, the selfishness is what's bothering me. So I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Sure. All right. What about you, Curtis?
Hi, Joe.
I'll say that I do have concerns
Don't laugh
because,
about
like you said, a lot of our family is not as fortunate to have the financial means to be able to afford food or eat out every week, or you know, be able to turn the light on, leave that light on all day, all night, or let their water run 24/7, or take 7, 8 showers a day, or whatever the case may be. Um, you know, I do have a worry about that, because at the end of the day, like, how are they going to get that supplement? Like my grandma, she definitely is on Medicare, and she relies on a lot. And a lot of our grandparents and great grandparents who do have medical concerns, just, you know, especially dealing with insulin. Like, insulin is high. If that is taken away, I think it was a $35 cap for insulin. For people who rely on that for an everyday thing, like that is a big concern. And so for me, it is very concerning. Like, how can I prepare myself to be able to help my family when they need it? You know, like, what's going to be the alternative? What's going to be the turnaround? Will it get taken away? Will it be capped? I don't know, because at this point, with this incoming president, anything that he says is not gun ho majority of the time. He can say one thing, and the next thing is just like
something completely different.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
And that's
Can't
where
wake up tomorrow.
you asked about, do we think the best candidate did they win? And for me to hear Joe say he think that they did based on their policies, but what? Like, besides him saying he's going to close the border, how? You're talking about defunding the police and doing all of this stuff. You're talking, but you're not telling us how you're going to implement it. A policy, you can say that, hey, I'm going to shut down this border, but how? You're going to do all this other stuff, but tell me how you're going to do it. Lay it out for me. So again, for me, like that, all of that stuff, it does play a factor, and I am concerned.
Let me ask you a question.
I mean,
does the how matter?
Of course.
Yes.
Of course it does. Because at what cost?
It
How
always
is
matters.
the
Which
cost?
one?
How you
Which one of y'all going? Okay, if he enforced the border to close, which one of y'all going down to the border to do it?
Yeah, but which border? You mean like the one that
Exactly.
eventually
Any
turns
of
into a
them.
First of
regular
all, I'm
Any
not
of
fence?
them.
see, I'm not border
I'm
patrol,
like,
so I wouldn't be able to go down there and close the border, Joe. Would you
You
go
ain't got to
down
be
there? I mean,
border
you're in the
patrol to go
military,
down
so
there.
you may have
but
that right, but I'm not gonna be able to do that.
but
Right.
you know,
Okay.
it's funny that
That's
we
just
always
Ask,
talk
that's
about this
hold on, let
border.
me answer Curtis's question.
Yeah.
If the president wants the border closed, he has a defense for that.
Yes,
Period.
but I guess in my mind, like we keep talking about a border that literally eventually turns into like a wire fence at some point when you reach New Mexico. Like
Well,
I've
it's not
stayed in New
necessarily the wire
Mexico
fence,
in
it's
the
the
no,
consequences of crossing that wire
pause.
fence.
Oh,
Yes,
came
but what
with
I'm
the
saying,
sauce.
no, because I'm just saying because like for me, like the importance is that we don't want immigrants to come to the country to make a better life because what?
Illegally, it's a
Okay,
you,
illegally that they
yeah,
can't come to
that
the country,
matters.
blah blah blah. Okay, all of that stuff it matters.
Uh-huh.
Maybe the money that we put into it. So it goes
Or
back
the
to the
threat
thing that
they
we talk about.
pose to you.
Yes, but it goes back to the abortion thing. So are we talking about policies or are we talking about money control? Because I feel like a lot of the like the rhetoric that comes is always up surrounds money, right? And so yes, by history, Democrats are known to create programs that benefit everybody with large sums of money, and Republicans are known to cut taxes for the wealthy so that the money can flow. That's what we talk about. But I guess in my mind is like, why does it always have to be black and white? Yes, we do have policies that may need to be reevaluated on how the money is, proposed. But do we need to just completely close the border? Why would we need to do that? Like, is it not something that we can come up with better policies that we're talking about that can allow for people to come to the United States, not, even if they come the illegal way, and maybe we don't have to spend thousands of dollars for them to be here. But I feel like as if like everything is so obsolete that it's almost like either you're going to be in the 1% or you're going to be in the impoverished, and we're not going to ever come to a solution that can help America with, that's supposed to be a melting pot of all these different people, and we can't satisfy everyone. But I feel like we're fighting over things that if we come together and work together, we'll be able to come up with solutions that can meet not the middle, but can benefit different groups of people more widespread.
I mean, honestly,
We all
And for me,
benefit.
no, the better candidate
That's
did
not how that
not
works.
win, just in case.
no, no.
Can I
We're
ask Joe a
losing more
question real
money
quick?
to bring in illegal immigrants than we would be spending money.
Yeah,
to
but
keep
guess
these
what?
immigrants
I
out.
mean, the reality is
The
that they're
money's
gonna
not
climb
the
over that
issue.
fence anyways, so it don't
Can I ask
matter.
Joe a question? Joe,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
support mass
Listen,
deportations? Joe, do you support mass deportation
Mass deportations of illegal immigrants.
Ooh.
of immigrants? He didn't say illegal. He
No.
said mass deportations. And the reason I'm asking this
No. He
question
said mass
is,
deportation
go
of
ahead. Do you
illegal
support
immigrants.
mass deportation? Yes. Do you support mass
Mass.
deportation?
I support mass deportation of illegal immigrants.
So you do realize that when we've done raids and we have tried to deport people, that citizens have been rounded up in that also. And do you realize that Puerto Ricans are American citizens and Republicans don't recognize them as that, so they can also be included in that roundup? Do you agree with that?
Well, first off, it don't matter what the Republicans want to do or what they think they do or what they feel they do. If the Puerto Ricans are Americans, then they are Americans. We're not putting Puerto Ricans. First off, Puerto Ricans serve this country. So we're not putting Puerto
Mexicans
Ricans out
serve this country too.
because right, yeah,
Right.
exactly. Right, they do. Legally. Point is, we're not putting somebody out the country because the Republicans feel like it.
Oh, Tina.
Because you think the Republicans feel like it.
So you
How that
are
works.
confident in the Republican Party that they won't accidentally deport U.S. citizens in their mass deportations. You are confident in that.
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
not.
Yeah,
I'm
I got
not.
it. Because y'all
I'm
not
not.
y'all not gonna be there doing the deportation.
Well, I have someone that actually works in that area that goes there
Who
frequently.
and what? Where at?
What you mean, who and what? I have someone that
Who,
works
what,
with
where?
Border Patrol that actually make
Uh-huh.
decisions, and
Ain't
he
gonna name
himself is concerned
Yeah,
about
yeah,
the
I know
radical
somebody down
way.
there too. Me too.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like absoluteness is the reason why we're in this issue right now. Like, you can't be absolute about everything. Like, you're gonna just deport everybody, and
Yes, you
like,
can be absolute about certain things. Like, for example, at 12 o'clock tonight, these lights turn off. Absolutely. There are certain things you can be absolute about.
Joe, I have a question. I know they talk about the military mostly voting for Trump or voting Republican. Is that true?
I believe so.
You believe so?
Yeah. And the
Why
reason, and I'm gonna tell you why I think that. Well, I'll tell you, in my opinion, and maybe some of this is actually fact, but we have by far the largest, most diverse organization successfully on the planet. If you can do it in the Army, or you can make it in the Army, you can make it anywhere. That's my opinion. And I think with that, you're dealing with folks from different races, different cultures, multiple genders, transgender. Like you have literally the melting pot in the military. Oh, by the way, we're stationed all over the planet. So I think if you can operate in those circumstances, you can pretty much operate anywhere. You can get
But why do they choose to vote Republican?
Because they support us very well.
Okay. Self-interest.
Yeah.
Joe, are you still in?
Mm-hmm.
So you haven't experienced life as a veteran yet.
What do you mean? I am a veteran. You don't.
You can
be a veteran and still be in.
As a retired veteran, Melissa, just be a little clearer for him.
No, I'm active duty.
Active duty.
So I have a lot of veterans in my family, and having served myself, my husband served, my in-laws served, grandparents served, parents served, and they all vote Democratic. Okay. Because they also understand that under Democratic presidency, when we're talking about veterans, that while yes, Republicans invest in the military active duty because they're investing more in wars, and they're invested in things like weapons and things of that nature, that they are not necessarily taking care of our veterans.
Okay, but keep in mind that's anecdotal, right? That's the people you know.
That's
I'm sure I can find somebody to say the exact same thing.
That's not true,
That is anecdotal. That's her
not
story.
anecdotal.
You talking like she speaks for the?
anecdotal.
She does not speak for the military. That's not how that works. Because again, you can find somebody just like her that says the exact same opposite.
So I can find an active duty person who says the opposite of you. So you don't speak for all active duty people.
I can say the exact same thing to them. Okay, you got it.
I'm just saying you don't speak for all active duty people either, Joe. Like you're saying broadly about the active duty, you don't speak for all active duty people either. There are active duty people who do. I'm
not speaking on behalf of the military, Melissa. She asked my opinion.
Saying you're speaking on behalf of the military. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you can't also do a broad straight, that Republicans necessarily support military more when we see how they support our veterans.
Tell me how they support our veterans.
What I will say, to be honest, because I know we've been talking about, we talked about a lot actually. And I won't get into what's going to happen or what's not going to happen, but all I know is the last time that he was president, he said that he was going to build a wall and Mexico was going to pay for it, but ain't none of that happened. So I ain't see no wall of Mexico paying for nothing, but I mean we'll see what happens, man. And we still have just under half an hour left, man. And this has been great dialogue. And personally, I think these are conversations that we need to have more often, not just around election time. But I do want to end with one final question though, and I want everybody to pretty much chime in on this. So what do you hope? What do you hope to see this administration accomplish?
That's a good one.
What do you hope?
Cole, we gonna start with you.
Yeah, cool.
I'm looking at faces.
Cole, we gonna start with you.
Turn your camera off now. We're gonna start with you, brother.
We gonna start with you.
No, I'm looking at faces, and everybody just take a deep breath because we all just look tense and we look like we just ready to go in.
It's a tense. It's a tense
conversation.
Take a drink.
Go ahead, Cole.
I'm gonna
need a drink.
All right. And I also wanted to ask Kimberly what was wrong with tariffs. That was my question from earlier. She was saying she complained about tariffs. I want to know what was wrong with tariffs, right? But the one thing that I hope that this administration does is continue their push on domestic industry, helping domestic businesses. So if you go back to 2016, one of the donors was the family that owns New Balance footwear. As a result, they capitalized on the Berry and Kissel amendments, which is a part of the Buy America Act. It requires our military to purchase products domestically. As a result, I think New Balance does about $7 billion in annual sales. The soldiers that are in basic training, they are trained wearing New Balance sneakers. So that shows that he does support that. Also, when he implemented tariffs against certain companies, like in China, when it comes to the importation of steel products, it caused an increase in steel production domestically. So if he continues to do those things, I can't stop it. So I would try to find a way to capitalize. I would advise others, if they can, invest in a flatbed, invest in some form of transportation, invest in a way to be able to do business with those companies that supported his campaign. And that is what I look forward to, I hope for. And I don't hold a president responsible for the actions of individuals unless he directly tells somebody to do something. But you have racists and bigots in all parties. So I don't hold that against a president. I know that a lot of people that are affiliated with him are in fact racist, and I mentioned some of the lawsuits, EEOC discrimination lawsuits, that a lot of his close partisan affiliates have been found guilty. And so that exists, but he's here. So you got to make the best of these 4 years. I'm not going to sit back and complain for 4 years.
Huh?
Thank you.
Right. What you got, brother? You muted, Bo.
Joe. Oh, my bad. Appreciate it. To be honest with you, I'm not asking or expecting much. Like I said, one of my main reasons that I was voting, like I said, is it's not really beneficial to me. My concern was my children. So, like particularly with my daughter, both my daughters actually, participating in sports. So my thing is, I don't want males participating in sports. I don't want males in the bathroom. So I mean, just stuff simple like that is what I care about when it comes to this administration, that I hope we can get a better handle on. The economy, I think that's another big thing. And also our border crisis. Those are the main things that I'm concerned about when it comes to this administration. I just hope to get on the ball with it and do it swiftly. Other than that, it's definitely been a wonderful time. Definitely appreciate the dialogue with you all. I'm very proud, Hook, that you got this going on, man. This is a beautiful thing with the members of the NPHC. So, I'm definitely proud to be on the show. Definitely proud to be with you all, and definitely appreciate it. And big up. So
appreciate it. The real USC.
Oh yeah.
Hi, Shanice.
Hey, so what do I expect from the administration or would like to see? I would just like to see that they focus on things that help America as a whole. I hope that the administration is able to influence in a positive way their followers so that we don't have to worry about any major riots, insurrections, whatever else people may do based on what they feel their right is. But I really, really just hope that they're able to work collectively. And when I say administration, meaning the Senate, U.S. Rep, and the president, collectively to just do what's right and best for our people. Whether you're Black, white, Indian, no matter your race or your gender, I'm just hoping that they are able to have a positive impact. I'm hoping that. Do I believe that it will happen? We'll see. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed. And I hope that our communities just get more united and we just advocate for our issues that we face as communities together, no matter our gender and our race. But I definitely hope that they do not, tumble over our economy, and that the only people that benefit from them are steel and and individuals that are in certain industries, and that we can collectively find a way as a people to be able to get through this inflation and make lives better for everyone.
Absolutely. All right, Kim, and I did not mute you tonight, so I don't want to.
I really didn't say much tonight. I'm still in mourning, but and I'm learning to bridle my tongue because some things that I'm hearing is just I'm in shock. But but what do I expect? I expect chaos. Just to be honest with you, I expect chaos. I expect division in this country because that was his previous presidency. It was division. The bold, the boldness of people. It's all of that. The Karen's going to come back out again stronger. It's going to be a mess. I don't think we realize how much of a mess that we're in. We have an older man who's going through, I think he's going through dementia. He's sundowning. That's in control of United States. And the reasons why we let them get in control. But anyway, I pray that doesn't happen, but I expect it to happen. And I expect to go in my little corner and just live like I normally have lived. Because one thing about us as a race, we have been through so much that we will persevere through this anyhow. But I hate that we self-impose ourselves into the situation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And Curtis, what you got, brother?
What I would like to see from this administration, I think that'll be the better way to put it, is accountability. Just be accountable for your efforts, what you do right. Take ownership in whatever it is that they're going to be doing, and stand 10 toes down about it. I truly feel like this is going to be, without me being too vulgar with my language, is going to be a show, in my opinion. But I really would like them to be accountable for whatever it is that they're going to be doing. And just like I think Kim or Shanice just said, and just look out for the American people in their best interests, all American people, not that 1%, not those big corporations, those entrepreneurs who, will benefit from whatever they tax cuts and all other stuff. Just look out for everybody. That's all I got. The best I got.
And Hook, can I ask a question right quick?
Yes,
Real
ma'am.
quick, since I've been quiet. So I want to go back to Joe when he said that he was looking at for his girls as far as playing sports. So sports compared to their health.
Mm-hmm.
Is sports more important over their health? Because you never know what your girl's situation is going to be.
My daughter's health. My daughter's health is fine. So
but
right
later
now,
on, just say if something happens where she ends up being pregnant and she can't get the treatment that she needs because I'm just asking.
No, that's nice.
I'm just asking the question. So you're worried about sports because it can happen now.
Yeah,
We're women.
the stock can fall too. Her health is not a concern right now. She's good. I'm not basing my vote off failed parenting.
That's not failed parenting. I didn't say my mom failed me. I got pregnant at a young age. My mother didn't fail me. I was just fast.
I'm talking about myself.
And let them stay.
Right. I take fatherhood and parenting seriously. My daughter comes up pregnant as a child, I fucked up as a father, and I take full responsibility in that. That being said, that's not a concern for me right now because her health is good. I'm doing everything I can to keep her from getting in that position in the first place. But that's not a concern for me right now. A concern for me right now is her playing sports. Trying to get any opportunity she can to get into school. That's my concern right now.
Okay. Sounds good. Next person.
All right. All right, Melissa, what you got?
Melissa face is priceless. Priceless. Huck, you gonna have to give people moments to get this all together.
Yeah, I don't expect anything from this administration that's going to be positive. I'll be honest. I listened directly to what Republicans have said that they want to do to this country. I've listened directly to what he has said, which is not really much. And I worry about the people that I love even more than I worry about myself. I worry about the children that I am, involved in their life. I'm worried about the LGBTQ plus people in my life. I'm worried about the whole half Puerto Rican side of my family. He's told us how he feels about our people in the island. I'm worried about the people that I love, and that there's going to be a rollback of our rights and our freedoms. And I hope that he gets nothing accomplished in this administration, and that all they have is infighting and chaos. Because if that's the case, then that will be less damage he's going to cause for the next president to have to fix.
Absolutely. Shannon, you know what time it is?
Look,
Yes, Shannon.
Melissa said it all for me. I don't need to say anything. I am worried. I am afraid. I am trying to figure out how we're gonna survive the next 4 years, because what I remember is a pandemic. What I remember is a lot of violence to our community. I remember a lot of not feeling stable, because every day it was some new thing happening that Trump brought to us. I see a lot of people, a lot of our rights being taken away. I see a lot of people not being held accountable the same way Trump is not holding himself accountable to the laws that he has broken. I just see a lot of division, and the fact that us as a people that look like us just cannot come together. And I hope if anything positive comes out of this, we learn how to come together more as a people, like it seems like we were trying to do previously. That's all I got.
All right. So, all right, man. And for me, I don't know. I don't expect a lot from this administration. I guess I'm just gonna take the wait and see approach. We'll see what happens. Like I said earlier, I don't think. Well, I know no matter what they do, it's really not going to impact me a whole lot. But I spoke earlier of fear. So my fear is that Trump being elected is going to galvanize his followers. They are going to feel that they can do whatever, say whatever, kind of like they did during his last administration. It's almost as though he empowers them. You know what I'm saying? And even whether he says, and again, I'm not saying that he is pushing these people to do it, but it doesn't take a whole lot to move the needle. So I really don't know personally, and just my personal thoughts. I think that this administration is a self-serving one. I don't think they have my best interests or my family's best interests at heart. I'm not one of these people that they want to appease or whatnot. One of the bigger things though is like accountability. Like if something goes wrong in this administration, the only thing he's going to do is blame it on the previous administration and just say, hey, this is this way because Biden, Crooked Joe, and all the other monikers that he gives people. I don't like that. Like at some point you got to take accountability. So I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned, because I am. I just don't know what's gonna happen. I love my country, I truly do. I just don't know. I don't know, man. Like I hope. I'm a very optimistic person, so I'm gonna hope for the best. But I just don't. With this, because we mentioned the deportation thing earlier, I just see a lot of families being separated from their loved ones, like people who actually were born here. I have people I work with that are of Mexican descent or whatnot, and they're like, I'm just concerned that one day my daughter's gonna be walking and ICE is gonna scoop her up. And you know what I mean? Because how do you differentiate that? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you differentiate between who's legal, who's not legal? Like, you don't really know. You know what I'm saying? So you can assume that, but again, that's discriminatory, and I hate it, because being a minority myself, I truly hate that. I don't, even though that's deportation is not one thing I have to worry about, I still hate it though. You know what I'm saying? But we just gonna have to see what happened, man. But this has been a great conversation. I know that we all don't agree on everything, but the fact that we're having this conversation speaks volumes. And I think that this is a conversation we need to have more than just around election time. And I think that's part of the problem. This is when we galvanize and we're like, hey, let's have this conversation now, but let's have it in year 2, you know what I'm saying? So people can begin, talking about it. And not just that, because we talked about kids earlier. I talk about me and my daughters have been talking about this election since it began. You know what I mean? And I don't push my opinion on them because I don't want them to do something because dad wants to do it. Like, I let them make their own opinions, and they have. And I don't care. Honestly, I don't care what way anybody votes. I just think that everybody needs to make that decision. If you vote for Trump, that's fine. I'm not gonna be mad with you because you went that way. You did what you felt was best. The issue I have is when people don't vote. Mm-hmm. That's the major issue. And I have a lot of people I work with that they didn't vote for this reason or that reason, and I think that's crazy. But exercise your right and do what's best. And I'm the type of person, I let chips fall where they do. Like it or not, Donald J. Trump is our 47th president. I may not respect him, but I respect the office.
Yeah.
So obviously, I'm going to give him the respect that he's due. And we just got to take the wait and see approach, whether I like it or not. It's not for me to. I'm not even going to focus on that, but I'm just going to pray for the best, and we'll just see what happens, man. But hopefully we can have this conversation again. We can reconvene. I'd love to have you guys back on. I appreciate every last one of you. Go ahead, Shannon.
I just got one question we never touched on. I know all the ballots had a constitutional question on it. Constitutional amendment. What did y'all think of that? In our last 4 minutes, about only natural citizens can vote who meet certain qualifications.
It didn't need a constitutional amendment vote because that's what the Constitution already says in South Carolina, that only citizens can vote. That slight language change doesn't make actually a difference. And to me, again, I don't trust the Republicans. So I don't trust the reasons why they may have put that on the ballot. I think it's a slippery slope. But it literally changes nothing as of now. I think it was a way to get Republicans out to vote. And again, I also think it was to set us up for future stuff. But as of now, it changes nothing.
Could you say what that question was again?
The question was constitutional amendment to provide that only a citizen of the United States who is 18 years of age and otherwise possessing the qualifications for voting shall be entitled to vote at any election in this state.
And
so that wasn't on our ballots in Florida.
It was just in South Carolina.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing too. I don't remember seeing that in Tennessee, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was on our ballots.
It was on there.
South Carolina, I should have said that. But I guess when I saw it, I thought the same thing, Melissa. That doesn't change anything. So what is the goal for putting that question?
There has to be a motive. So we'll find out soon. Stay tuned.
It'll come up in 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Kimberly, 2 years.
Before we get off, Kimberly, can you tell me, in your opinion, what is wrong with tariffs?
I didn't say anything about tariffs.
You're still on that tariff, bro.
I didn't say anything about tariffs, so you got to
somebody tell them something that don't cost money, and Kim answered a goddamn question about tariffs.
Hey, he ain't let that go.
I didn't let that go. I did not.
Well,
yeah, saving the man.
Yeah, I must have missed that one. I ain't heard nothing about tariffs, but that's just me.
I haven't said a word about tariffs.
Ever since you said it.
Hey, when you in the bed?
I
am. I have to get up and work out and then go to work. So
I know, right?
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right? Nah, but it's but this
shower is before I got on the call. Go take a shower, get ready.
Yeah. No, but don't be surprised if y'all get the inbox from me and Shannon asking y'all to be on a different topic. Yeah. So the voting thing, like I'm over that. So whatever, it is what it is.
But can you tell me? We have a minute left.
I got something to say.
Someone mentioned, the bad side about President Trump, and they mentioned tariffs. Kimberly said it wasn't her. But I kept talking to
I
him.
promise
I
you, it
wanna
was
know-
not me.
I want to
Joe,
know
what
what
you
is.
got, Joe?
What you want to say
What's
about
bad?
terrorists, Cole?
I want to know what's bad about it.
I
No,
don't
I'm
even.
asking what's bad about it, about
They
tariffs.
can't
Do
preach,
you have
right?
something that you want to say about terrorists? Because nobody
The
is
only
saying
person I heard mention terror tonight was Cole. I ain't heard nobody else say nothing
you.
about terrorists. I ain't lying.
Yeah,
Hey,
so
Joe,
what
go
do you
ahead.
want
She
to say
said
about
it. I started typing in the chat. I was like,
Joe
"What's wrong with
frozen.
tariffs?"
Yeah, Joe Frozen
No,
right
one
there.
thing we asked
Hey,
about
Joe,
is
go
your
ahead.
shirt. We only asked about your shirt. We didn't ask about
I'm sorry. What you were saying?
Go. You had a
What was
you
the
you were
question?
about to say something.
Oh yes. I was going to ask you what was the next topic on your next show?
Yeah, we Shannon and I are going to deliberate, and we'll know probably by Monday probably. We'll know what it
Okay.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, just send
Can
us
we
the link so we
can
can
I
also
throw in a
support.
recommendation?
Yes, sir. What's up?
So over the last at least the last 6 months, in my opinion,
Mhm.
I think these elections, regardless of what party affiliation or whomever you support, I think it's dividing us as a community,
Mm-hmm.
particularly between men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I'm requesting that we do a show. I'm requesting that you all do a show that brings both the brothers and the sisters back together.
Okay.
I love
So
that.
so it
First,
sounds like
it's a dating
it's-
game because you got a secret admirer.
Say that one more time.
You sure do. So
I
what's
said
the
the
name?
first is gonna be a dating game because you have a secret admirer.
I have a secret admirer.
She wasn't
yeah.
too secret.
No, well, it's actually
Oh.
it's not so secret anymore.
It
So
ain't secret.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows. But
Well,
nah,
let me just put this out there on this platform. I'm currently devoted to fatherhood right now.
Mhm.
I'm not interested in dating.
my man.
I'm not in the streets no more. I'm chilling, doing the best I can for my family.
Okay.
That's all right.
That's
So
Okay.
I'm taking a
That's
break.
all right.
And here's the thing, right? There's no such thing as there's nothing wrong with going into early retirement. I think that's what I'm doing. I'm just chilling right now.
It's the I'm not in the streets
I
no
enjoy. I had fun. I
Me.
enjoyed my life. Life was great. Life is fun. But like right now,
that's what happens when you go to the real USC.
CBT.
Nah,
Man, I've
so
been in daddy
You
mode.
know, you know.
nah,
I've been in daddy mode. Huck, don't do that.
last thing though, it sounds like Joe's volunteering to be a guest on the next podcast. So
sure
we'll be
did.
we'll be
Yo,
on
so
that.
here's the thing. This is second night this week. See, here's the thing, right? I got a doggone retaining wall I need to go build. Luckily, it's raining right now, but I got stuff I need to be doing. But I'm doing this for the community, right? I'm giving y'all my time.
It won't be for another 2 weeks though. So you got time. You got time to go ahead and get that finished.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be finished by then. I'll be
You got
finished by
time to
then.
get that finished.
All right.
But this conversation's been great, man. I appreciate y'all. And
No dating shows though, please.
nah.
We're gonna put you for the highest bidder.
Nah,
I
just
don't have an
continue.
option. Okay.
Nah, but just continue to support the podcast, man, and we'll be having you guys back on soon. But
Yeah,
again, this has
just
been
let
great,
us
man.
know the link that we can support.
For sure.
You know.
For sure,
Period.
phenomenal conversation, man.
Thank y'all very much.
Right. So until next time,
Thanks for
we
having
gonna
us.
Mm-hmm.
y'all be
All
good.
right, good one to all. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.